line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready.
And hello everyone, and welcome back here to Pizza Race TV live today from Richmond, Virginia's Richmond Raceway, as we are about to bear witness 21 of the best of Venom Truck Series go at it once again here on the show in a hard dual fight known as the Stop Stigma 200. I am the Crusader Chris Stroud joining you guys. Welcome back to the show as always here as the day has started to turn into night. The sun fades off onto the warm-up session right now, preparing our drivers for what lies ahead, which is the question not only they can answer by those that are brave enough to step foot across the other side of the sun and into the darkness that's going to come with them here at Richmond. But of course, here as you see the qualifying, as you see our warm-up times right now, you're playing out some familiar faces like Palicki, Salamoni, and Kay also in that top half here. Sargent, Dye, Van Leer, and as well as Langston and Dean kind of hanging up on that top 10 end. You can see speeds are going to be very crucial here as well for a lot of these drivers, and a lot of momentum to carry forth with it. But here is the race info right now to take a look at this. Look at this right now, folks. Talk about having to literally march your way through the track and march your way through the field. This is 7.75 miles in length here. 3/4 of a mile, Richmond Raceway. Bit of a D-shaped configuration. Very tight corners, very tight ends here, especially in turn 1 and 2. Having to come off that hard heading little turn 2 exit. 3 and 4, I swear, will give you a little bit more of a headache than you'll see maybe with 1 and 2. But the best drivers are going to be the ones that can find a way around the obstacles and find a way around the track zone as much as they can to gain further speed and further validity as the warm-up session right now is coming to a close here. We've seen it before where a lot of drivers have kind of played their role, played their momentums here on the track. We're going to be interested to see just how difficult it is here for a lot of them to take center aim. As the Venom Truck Series right now is currently footing the last laps on the tracks here. If you are new to the channel as well, be sure to tune in with us here more often. And decide to like and follow us up here on Facebook. Head to our YouTube and subscribe there so you guys never miss any of our action and live coverage when it comes on. Also, race fans, just a heads up, we do have the Super Money race coming on later today. Still time to sign up for that. Get into the Discord, sign up with just paying a $15 entry fee. The promotion is Super Money race has been absolutely a barn burner of excitement and fun, and we would certainly love to see a little bit more of that here on this race and on the racetrack. All depends and depends on you guys to come out and see everything that plays out. So really do appreciate you coming on board, and let's see how it all goes down here on the show in just a little bit. But with only 3 seconds left, we are now ready to get this race underway. And that will bring us to the elusive gridding start here. Our field of drivers ready to bring it out. The lights will fade off here a little bit as the crowd chants and roars their names, roars their crowd. It's time to see the starting lineup here, and on the pole, Greg Elliott will be in the 19 with his outside being the number 2. That's John Gay. And row number 2, it's going to be Jad Steems there in the number 05. His outside is the 21, Jeff Langston. In row 3, it is piloted by the 15, Brian Dye. His outside is the number 12, Jeremy McKinnon. Row number 4, it's Corey Rutherford. And the 50, his outside is the 32, Andy Palicki. Row 5 is Paul Ellison. The 55, his outside is the 5, Jan Van Leer. Row number 6 is Will Salamoni. His outside here will be Michael Dean in the 73. In row number 7, pilots the 17. He is Garrett Rainey. It is outside. It is the 8, Josh Maxwell. Rotor 8 is Brantley Gain Jr. The 22 is outside. It is the 3, Greg Roberts. Row number 9, Kyle Zittle will be piloting the 53 was outside. It is the 28, that's Rodney Roberts. And row number 10, Kyle Dumig in the 18 is outside. Paul Sargent, the 49. And finally, David Fay rounds out the field in the 88. Race fans, we are set to go. The action is now about to kick off. The Truck Series come alive here. They are now in position. 200 laps here at the distance here in the Stop the Stigma 200. Field is now preparing and wait for this one. Crunch time around the track here, setting them off into the distance, into the setting sun. The field's very crisp, very clean out here. Beautiful skyline, very beautiful limelight here with the grass and the plains and the trees all presented up on the show. One more time around here, we'll get them into their staging position, staging lap here. One more lap around. It is a short track after all, so they do have a little bit more time to kind of have to settle in and get ready to fire them up. 550 horsepower in these Truck Series is going to be really used up to their fullest advantages. On a track like this is honestly perfect for their kind of momentum, their kind of power, but I really question how the tires will handle and how fuel runs will be used in the full set and the full swing of things. That's going to be their biggest obstacle they're going to face, and they know it. Off the distance, onto the back straightaway, lining him up. Greg Ellie in the 19 will start the command. He will lay the drivers on the start. Entering in 3 and 4, the fans are on their feet. Richmond Raceway is ready. We're ready. We're going to go green here off of turn 4. PT Race TV, we're out and about. It's time to go racing at Richmond Raceway. We're going to come in hot here in turn number 1 here. Drivers heading to the bottom immediately. Some jam towards soft side, trying to stay into the ride. Off the distance here, coming through corner number 2. And down in the back straightaway, they enter into 3. It is Corey Rutherford, the 50, making some moves off with that kind of tore up and taken away from Face Truck's car that they kind of stole there on the track. Ryan Dye in the 15 having a little bit of company on his outside, though. The Rotobel number 21 Ford F-150. Right now, Jeff Langston trying to keep up position. As the caution flag is out, we have a caution now. Paul Ellison gathering us the caution here, looks like. And for the first time today, that will bring us to our PTM instant replay. Time to see it, take a look, see what happened here exactly there on the camp of the 55. Looks like maybe in that corner a little too hot and kind of floated himself into the wire a little bit. Hard drive there in the Rowdy Energy 55 and the Red Diamond machine. Diamonds himself off into the corner and into that track zone. That was certainly not where he wanted to play that at. But that just shows you how difficult it's going to be sometimes for these guys to have to work around, how it's going to be to overall kind of steal the pace and kind of dictate the run. We'll see how it all comes to live now as we're about ready to get back to the green flag. Caution flag still out there as they are currently trying to get squared away. Do want to apologize last night for our overlay issues as well to Road America and Champion Power Equipment drivers. Certainly weren't expecting that, nor were we really ready for it. We had a little bit of time to get ready for this one, so we made sure to delay until we got going. Thankfully we did, and we are now ready to go once more. Jazz Sneed's driving a truck that probably a lot of people know from their race here in 2022 at Kansas Speedway when Gold Kurt Busch drove that 45 machine out in the Next Gen Cup race, pulling off a win there and a huge victory for the Air Jordan camp. Well, it certainly seems like he's trying to channel the inner Kurt Busch in him and trying to make a move off here into the distance. But he's got company behind him now. 2 drivers looking for some real estate. Here comes the 12. Jeremy McKinnon now looking to the outside. The Savage Arms looking to get the Acuna Ford F-150 right underneath with some Slim Jim action by Ryan Dye. Die like the Macho Man, trying to literally bite into that Sim Jim and get right underneath that 05 Chad Steens, but he is not able to bite into the gym yet. Well, you notice how smooth too some of these guys are coming off these corners, coming off these exits. Again, you can see just in their throttle rhythm alone, they're trying to preserve a little bit of that tire and a little bit of that right front and right rear. The thing about a truck here is that the right front gets the worst end of the stick here in this kind of race because of the fact it's more of a front end drive. The rear end doesn't kick out nearly as much as say some of the other cars, like a next gen Cup car does. So the right front is where you really gotta watch and time your tempo and make sure you don't burn in too quick or too hard. If you start burning that right front up too much, it's going to be a whole lot more trouble for you because you no longer have a loose setup that's able to rotate around the track. Now you have a truck that's almost like a dumpster truck, or a dump truck, if you will, too. Literally just trying to have to weave around a 90-degree end turn. It's going to be slower, it's going to be horrible, and it's not going to work very well. John K, though, seems to have no trouble with that here. The number 2 with an early lead and a huge lead starting to build up on these boys. Maybe trying to play him into that old little mantra that he has, which is just get ahead of the field and get ahead of the track as soon as possible. That has worked very much so before, and he looks to continue that on. Although he gets a little left tap there from the 832 of Andy Palicki. Palicki now on the inside dives in the Nissan Beast. Apparently, Palicki is not liking Langston trying to block him, and he says, okay, so you want to block me on a short track? Well, there's a simple truth to that. I know how to use the chrome horn, my friend. He uses the bumper, gives him a left tap, sends him up a little high, and now the 32 is in a hot charge, but the 21 has some run on the outside. You can see there is some drive there, and here comes Jan Van Leer looking to capitalize on both drivers. Jan not giving an inch there to Palicki. Palicki not letting him have too much room either. You saw him actually make a great run in his last 3 appearances at the beginning of the showcases in the beginning of the Venom Truck Series, but still without a race win. He talked to me about that earlier today. He said point blank, I don't know what I have to do to get a race win. I don't know which racing god I have to ask and pray and beg for, but it's not working for me. So today I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to make sure I use all my truck and use all this track to gain some ground and gain some advantages here. That is going to be my end goal, he says. It's interesting though that he uses that as his end goal because we talked about how much short track racing involves, you know, putting bumpers together, putting drivers kind of in the limelight, putting them in the spot with using the front end or the rear ends, or even they're using some of their side skirts every now and then. But with this track, it's kind of hard to really get around that it is a short track because it used to be actually a half-mile long, but during the late progressions of the late 90s there, boom, if you will, and the crave that came of NASCAR, they had to adjust this track to be a little bit less bumping and banging, a little bit more wide open-ended. And despite this place having quite a history of some wild moments, the racing itself hasn't quite been the same as I remember it, or really what we have seen before in previous times, previous decades. Of course, there have been a lot of memorable things that have happened here on this track, from literally the days of Dale Sr. just getting out of his car and outside of his window, just trying to actually clean that front windshield out, to the days of Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch just completely taking each other for a ride in their corners respectively. And now, to the iRacing world, we've seen quite a few heavy finishes here with these races, and quite a few crazy little races as well, that have ended either in controversy or have ended with a little bit of just good old hard short track racing. Close finishes wise though, hasn't been too hot there. Obviously it's not a track I think you really expect too much of that, but it certainly has been a great deal of long-term run versus short-term run racing, if I had to say anything about it. So I was very curious kind of going into this race, you know, how that would play out for these drivers, and so far it seems to be playing towards what they want to do and how they want to play it in, which is just staying smooth and controlled here on the track. Well, here is last time. Well, here is your first-time feature winner there at Daytona, Kyle Zittel in the 53. He was the first driver we ever see on the track come to victory lane, and you know he's been in that top 10 contingent ever since then, and he hasn't really let off that gas. But right now, currently in the 13th spot, losing some time and ground here, and slamming that wall protection is not helping his cause any. We'll have to see if he can start to reel him back in and start to take full control into this run, because he needs some help right now. Speaking of needing a little bit of help right now, we're taking a look at the number 19, Greg Elliott here, who was starting as your number 1 starter. He fell way back in there with Chad Steems and John Kay. John Kay not giving him much room or much openings to really take full control off of, and he knows it too. Chad Steems just trying to hunt down that number 2 and trying to make sure he doesn't pull off another win here. But John Kay is a driver, and he is one of the guys that I've been told you have to watch out for, and you cannot let up on them, because if you let up on them, they will give it everything they got and push you to your limits, and they know it. Time to take a look at some of our best lap times right now here. As we've gotten further into this run, you're going to see a lot of the lap times kind of coming earlier in the race here, but I'm going to tell you right now, looking at these lap times here, you're seeing a bit of a pattern here, which is a lot of drivers, they're not trying to go for big, go for broke right out of the gate. They're trying to minimize downforce, minimize the run, and try and see if they can actually make a move off, make a bit of a charge here with it. And their times certainly showcase that, aren't indicative of it, as their 25-second lap times aren't quite actually narratively correct. I think actually they're in the 23s here, so I think we may need to update that on our end. This is what their true times are right now. This is their last lap time. So right now their speeds are upwards of the 22-second range on the starts. John Kay laying down, I believe, a 22.1 there and qualifying around that lane, around that edge. So that is certainly going to be a bit of a workaround for him and the crew to have to go back to later into this race, and he knows it too. Paul Ellison, the 55 right now, trying to get up there to the 53 of Kyle Zittel. Zittel making way too many mistakes here for his own good, perhaps, and now loses up as the red diamond of Ellison, looking to make back his little ground he lost earlier after that little spin and hiccup he took in turn number 1 and 2. Throwing the shade, throwing the haymaker down. The red diamond is now in full control of his own destiny, trying to move up the chains. Greg Roberts, though, right behind him, and you know when you got a big black 3 running around here, you know something cannot be coming that is good. Looks like in turn number 2 too, it looks like some of these guys are actually just a bit loose here, and you can see him shifting in and out of the corner. Greg Roberts shifting down in 3 and 4 as he was actually trying to keep the RPMs up a little bit higher. He's trying to make a bit of a run off, a little bit of a charge there to make sure that he's got everything on all 4 correctly, as well as gripping to the track. Didn't quite get the grip there though. You saw he lost a little bit of time just kind of shifting back up. So that tells me 2 things. Number 1, he's trying to get most speed, most power, but also he's also looking at trying to enable an advantage the Kirk of the run here. Now you have a battle for the race lead here. This is that long run we're talking about, and John Kay, the number 2, goes to battle with the 19 of Greg Elliott. The big red, white, and blued up Nate Mother's Machine, I believe that is what is on the side of that. Number 2, John Kay, right now battling hard at the 19. You can see making a great job keeping it up on the keeping it up on the track. The Nathan's number 2 Ford F-150 defending Greg Elliott beautifully by driving the outside line. Elliott trying to dive bomb him, Entering into 3 and 4, which is where you see most of the action usually take place for that dive bomb, but it's not cooking up just enough. It's not there just yet. And Chad Steves, knowing this way too well, puts the 05 right into the marker and right into position. The fact you can drive a little bit harder off on the outside and then up to the top side is where really the most that control and most that power is coming from. And they know it too. That's why they're so worried about trying to outwin, outdo the other, but not able to get a clear-cut move off into that turn. But driving up on that outside does have a really big problem as well, which is incoherently, you got to worry about literally the truck getting bolstered and tightened up by simply just driving too much into that outside slick. The bottom is where you're going to get most of the traffic from, because that's where most of the grip is. But the outside, because of how slick it is, it can actually give you a little bit of a work here, a little bit of speed, if you can time it right. But that's if you only time it right. Still back and forth here. Greg Elliott and Chad Steves not giving an inch here. A little bit of a bobble there off of Greg Elliott, number 19 though. And here comes Ryan Dye and the Slim Jim 15. He's trying to tell the boys, you best slap into a Slim Jim if you know what's good for you. Making a move off here and making a speed into. Ryan Dye back to the bottom line now, looking to pick up the 05 even more. You can see though the 5 not giving him in right up the stripe. Coming right around town here, it is still Dye and Elliott back and forth with one another here. Rest of the field currently trying to kind of keep up with the distance. A dive bomb thrown here in 3 and 4 though. Here comes Brantley Gaines Jr. The insert coin, number 22, swinging it right at Kyle Zittle in the 53. And they got a couple tore up trucks out here the way it looks right now. Looks like some of them may be more damaged up than we thought. Zittle trying to hang in there and trying to stick with his guns and stick with the field here. Coming off the edge here, Greg Roberts, who was in that battle earlier on, kind of swing back a little bit. Can't quite keep the timing and pacing going. The field is right now starting to separate out. It's starting to become more of a drive off here for some of these guys with a little bit more of a timing error and timing shot or two under the dark. Michael Dean to 33 right now, looking to move up on the bottom here, trying to fire right in here and go for broke, going for it all here. Now has kind of stabilized it down as Michael Dean tries to get it around Langston. Dean and Langston still back and forth one another lane. Dean though, go a little bit wide there on the outside. Can't quite get it to drive off on the 21. Has to now have to shift up, down, back to the bottom looking for the crossover. Whoa, and they will get that crossover indeed. Straight shot, and man, he actually drove it a lot wider than I thought, and Langston not able to hold him back. But how much did he take out of those tires just by doing that little move, I wonder? That was a very big risk. Dean knows it too. He's going to have some work around to do it as Jan Van Leer now puts the 5 up there with the number 32, Manny Flicky. Guys, they're starting to get very aggressive, very tenacious here. And it's going to be a very tough ride out here. Right now, laps starting to fade in, starting to fade off here. The guys currently trying to find themselves in place and in position here. Paul Ellison, who had caused the first wreck earlier, caused the first caution, actually spinning out on his own there. Kind of been reeling it back off here, and now just trying to stay out of trouble. The rest of the field doing much of the same. Jeremy McKinnon, who made some very smart moves and some very hard drives there earlier, hasn't been able to really kind of relinquish or reclaim momentum he had. He's fallen a few spots back down, actually, in position. And Michael Dean making a bit of a late charge here as the field is currently closer and closer to their pit stop due dates. John Kay, though, is your race leader, and right now he is not looking like he is going to give anything out to any of these guys anytime soon. Number 18, Kyle Dumick, they're following one lap behind, right off the edge here in Stephen Den. Uh-oh, trouble down there. Jan Van Leer, though. Oh, my. Got Ray loose, got tightened and wrecked out here, unfortunately, on the back straightaway. Yellow flag is out as well. Yellow is out, unfortunately, and it looks like Jan Van Leer kind of ship shop to the tip top and shaped it down to the shadow realm, and now he's got some work to do here. We'll have to see what happened to that number 5. Looks like he got himself into a bit of a pickle here. see, he just overdrove it right off that edge there. And this is the thing you're going to see more often than not, race fans, is just drivers, they'll get so confident that these tires are wore in and there's nothing really left to worry about. But they keep forgetting that once you kind of over accelerate and you don't have you have a tight truck, this can happen on a dime. And what happened to Jan Van Leer is certainly something that I have done plenty of times to this truck. I can tell you that much. I've had many races where that thing just kind of gave out on me, and that kind of was the end result. And unfortunately, that's the end result for the number 5. Jan Van Leer has got some work to do to get back into this. And with no instant repairs at their will, he's going to have to fix it up by just simply staying in track side in with damage here. The field is already ready to get back to the green. We're back underway. Separating the field out, Chad Steams now is moving up into the race lead. John Kay losing his spot for the moment. Steams holding down the track here. John Kay into the wall protection off of turn 2. Slammed hard there. The Nathan's 2 F-150 got pushed back a few spots. Ryan Dye, Slim Jim, he bites into it, and the 21 of Langston bites into that race lead as well. Now moving ahead, the drivers are continuing to manage the gas pedal and throttle them off, straight lining them into a single file draft. Being single file right now, this is where the things can get a bit crazy here, where they have to fire it up here, so we'll have to see what goes down. Coming off the edges here, Corey Rutherford, the number 50, moving back ahead, looking for a position or pace off the charge and off the cornerstones. Everyone looking for a distance travel. Azia Kuma, number 12, Jeremy McKinnon, dealing with the stolen iRacing pace truck. Number 50 is Corey Rutherford. I say stolen because he taped that thing with that 50 on it and literally just called it his own ride. Rutherford, if you were going to steal a truck, why did you steal the pace car? What is this, Talladega back in the 90s? I guess he wanted to go wild. I guess he wanted to go full send-in mode. Well, he definitely goes full send-in mode with that thing around. I'll tell you that much. Greg Robertson at 3, continuing to hang tough and hang pace here, looking for some openings, looking for some drive off the 55 here. Paul Ellison now moving up the chains again after everything he's been through today. I think really that's what he wants to hear and that's what he wants to know. Brentley Gainey Jr. here kind of stuck between a bit of a rock and a hard place. Josh Maxwell way behind him in position because he's got a bunch of lap traffic right behind him here. And he knows it too. Here comes that 99. Will Salamone looking to try to get some position off on him. By the way, John K came into the comments section earlier on, throwing a little bit of popcorn our way here. John, appreciate you watching with us as well as all that are watching right now here on Pizza Racing TV. We certainly cannot thank you guys enough for your support. And looks like there's more trouble down there on the track. Kyle Zittel has come to a stop on the back end here. Caution is indeed out. Caution back on out. Let's take a look at the P2 instant replay and see what went wrong here exactly. It looks like the back straightaway is having a little feast or famine of drivers today. I believe that's the last thing you want to deal with as well, is a feast and famine of these kind of races. Zittel overshoots his corner there. Then instead of getting tight and into the wall, this time he actually gets loose. Those fresh 4 sets of Goodyears end up getting him all switched around, and the Stealth 53 had nowhere to go and nowhere to get out of. Here's an onboard camera here of this gyro cam. Watch him as he tries to save it here. Tries to stay calm, but knows he's a little bit in trouble. Doesn't overreact though. Stays in the stays off the throttle and stays in the brake, but doesn't try to lock him up, which is a good sign there. That means he knew where he was at, he knew where he was in position, and he was trying to outwit and outsmart the loss of traction, but unfortunately didn't quite go the way he was hoping for here, as the field right now is currently under caution flag here, trying to get squared back on around the track here. Coming right around though, off of the distance here in turn number 3 and 4. After the trouble there for Kyle Zittel in the 53, now we bring it back to the green, and off the run we go back into the field. Chad Steams in the 05 right now is hoping to try to keep his race lead intact, but lights have faded off here in Richmond Raceway. The night is starting to come in, sunset to the nighttime, and Chad Steams clearly like some Air Jordans are just kicking it up and punching it up a few notches, although there's troubles down there for Ronnie Roberts. They will stay green. We'll have to take a look at that replay here in a minute, what happened to Rodney Roberts, unfortunately, but right now the field is too tightly packed and too closely guarded to kind of get a good look at that, so we'll let them keep racing. And through the turns, Jeremy McKinnon, the number 12, trying to stay ahead here with John Kay right behind him, looking for control, looking for the openings. Stabilizing him down here, trying to give him a run here or two, looking for some power base off the edges here, working for their ride around. The number 3 of Greg Roberts here is now up on the outside curve, trying to stick here with the 73 of Michael Dean. Coming quick, coming close, everyone looking for openings where they can, trying to see who can get the better of the other. Time to take a look though and see what happened exactly to Rodney Roberts there on his little getaway there, if you will, in the back straightaway. Something went wrong yet again, as it looked like he was trying to build some speed up and to find himself in the same predicament most of his other colleagues have earlier. The Bass Pro Shops tracker boats machine way loose this time. He was a lot tighter in the turn than everyone else, so not as much damage because he didn't have as much momentum to carry, but that is certainly kind of telling though that that turn is not where you want to be overdriving it at all. Honestly, it was a bit of a smooth little ride there, to be honest with you guys. I don't think he really asked for anything smoother than that, and I think he knows it too. But at the same time, with that said, I mean, how much of that did kind of take away from his ride here, and it looks like actually a caution has flying back out as well. Caution is back out here. I'm not really sure what went wrong here. Caution's out. Caution is out. We're literally just trying to get back to the live stream feed here, and then unfortunately it looks like there was a caution thrown out on the track, so we're gonna have to go take a look for that one here. Not too sure what happened exactly or what went wrong. It seemed like everybody was a-okay there, but it appears caution had come out here, and it looks like this might be on Greg Elliott. And it is here. Let's take a look at this one. And 3 wide salute for the first time today, and ends up not going well there for the 19. Greg got kind of caught off guard, kind of caught in a bad spot here. Here's another look at it from the instant replay on the chopper cam. We had one of our drone cams flying out. Ray Roberts kind of forcing Rutherford up a little bit. Elliott tries to stay and hold his line. Couldn't quite get it to, and ends up paying the price for his troubles. A good drive by Greg Elliott early on, but now he's starting to lose a lot of momentum, and this is not looking too good in that camp here. We'll have to see if that continues to be a nuisance, bit of a problem down there, as the field is currently trying to get ready to reel him back in and settle back on the track. Lap car has kind of brought these boys back to a crawl, back to a position here. Pace car is now ready to field him in and restart him up again. And out of this 200 lap race, again, you just can tell there's so much going on. There's so much being played out here and happening at certain points and at certain levels here. Green flag back up in the air, and we are off and running once more. Hard drive down into the back straightaway, going into the corners here. We've got multiple drivers now looking for some real estate on the bottom lane. The bottom line not giving them quite the speed though I think they were all looking for, and now they're just trying to find their way around the track as much as possible here. Will Salamone in the 99 right now, moving up ahead, looking to get a few more positions. He lost a lot of ground timing earlier from where he qualified at. Hasn't really had that trouble since then. Now been trying to make a big of a move, bit of a ride off here into the corners and into the sunset. Jeff Langston now looking to get the 21 up ahead into Andy Flicky's territory. Remember, he had some company earlier on there with Jeremy McKinnon in the 12, while also dealing with Ryan Dye and Chad Steems a bit too. But John Kay, the guy that really a lot of drivers were kind of thinking would be able to kind of start to run away a little bit with that race lead, kind of gotten dethroned with those caution flags, and now literally after hitting the wall too, lost a lot more time and a lot more control, and he's been trying to hang in there since then. Langston currently watching on here with some company coming up their way, but John Kay is dealing with major problems on the bottom lane. Here comes the 12, McKinnon. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on down there. Woo. Oh, the Savage Arms number 12, F-150, almost sending it off down to Broadway here in Richmond. Got it really hard off of corner number 2 and end up saving that rear end out completely outright, but that also lost him a lot of speed. If you're loose like that, you ain't got no tracks in it. Here comes Michael Dean, the 73, looking to get that opening used up on him here. Sterling will not hold back here if he can, and that is exactly what he's up to. Uh-oh, trouble up there yet again. Caution's out. Caution is out once more. Rodney Roberts and the number 28 driver. And another scruffle, another kerfuffle. Problems down there once again. What is going on right now with these drivers and what is happening throughout some of these runs here? Looks like this was another 3-wide salute initiative here, and it looks like Roberts thought he might have had some here, but watch this. Look at this dive bomb here by the 5 of Jan Van Leer, right into the number of 28, and nowhere to go for Mr. Ronnie Roberts. Roberts really was just a victim of own circumstances. There was nothing he could do. Jan Van Leer was going for broke, and he knew it too. Watch Jan swinging that thing right in, and bang! And even the 8 takes a huge little knocker there. Josh Maxwell, I guarantee it, was not too happy about that little nugget of wisdom. Can't say that I blame him. I would not be too happy either. But again, it is a short track, so fenders and drivers may occasionally be kind of put into a bit of a scenario here. So we'll have to see if that ends up being the case once again. Field getting stretched back around right now. We're ready to field it back into position. Our halfway point now in session. Off the distance into corner number 3 and 4. Off to the restart zone. Chad Steems lights them up and fires them away. 100 laps completed. Now we're halfway done. Hard dash down on the turn number 2 here. Ryan Dye in the 15 going right up against Andy Palicki here as Chad Steems tries to keep his race lead. Langston right behind though, looking to put the road belt there machine right into the fray and into the fight. The Rotella number 21 has not been given too many opportunities today to take the race lead away. He's looking to try to change that now with a little bit of a dash on the cash and the grass. But again, John Kay lingering back there in the number 2 Nathan's machine. You can't count him out here. He may be a bit of a charger here, and maybe somebody that can take full control if he gets that chance. Right around here, Ryan Dye now on the outside. Andy Palicki in the 32 going for broke again, looking to get there to Steems. He wants a piece of there. Jordan 05. Oh, my friends, look at this here. It is now Dye using the outside embankment and burning to try to stick the line up and keep in control of this. Chad Steems very hard down on the bottom, and Dye almost catching the rear corner panel there. Looking like maybe he could have had something for him if he took him for a bit of a hit there. Well, Salamone has jumped up quite a few spots here, as has Greg Roberts in the number 3. Both guys right now hot on the charts and both fighting it out with supremacy in mind. Robert's part of a 3 or 4 truck team here right now, continuing to manage and dictate the pace. Coming off in the distance here, David Fay, part of that group, that elite squad that Roberts was working with, trying to keep up if the team's priorities is just get to the battle and get into the war zone, and that is exactly what they're doing. But I know they are not out of the woods yet. They still got a lot of hard dashes coming through. Look at the 88 of David Fay now. He's making some rounds and he's making some noise. The 55 Paul Ellison trying to keep him from making too much noise though, but it wasn't enough to keep him out of turn 1 and 2. Good pass there by Ellison, and extremely difficult to do. I tell you, trying to make a pass in 1 and 2 is literally in that corner, in that apron. It's extremely difficult for the fact of you got 2 ways that could go horribly wrong, whereas in 3 and 4 you got a lot more room to dive bomb, which sends the driver upwards and gives it more traction, more opportunity to obligate through there and get your truck to rotate better than the other. Hitting the apex of the corner and hitting that turn so smoothly and just rightly is where you get all those guys like you see Brantley Gain Jr. doing right now and making everyone work around it. Michael Dean, the 73, moving down on the bottom end here now with Rick Roberts up on the outside. Coming up into the playing field and back into the fray. Coming down through the corners and just dealing with it. .111 of 200 laps right now completed up on the track. Chad Steems and Jeremy McKinnon continuing to ride out in the sunset. 4 spots up for Jeremy McKinnon right now. Not the hard charger, but he is the second best hard charger, tied with quite a few guys in Brantley Gain Jr. and Greg Roberts. The hard charger of the day so far right now. Well, that just so happens to be the 88, David Fay. 15 spots gained from his qualifying spot and qualifying time. You want to talk about a guy that is muscling this field? I don't think we could say anyone else but him is in that category, my friends. What a drive for him. Number 50, Corey Rutherford right now trying to get into it there with Michael Dean as John Kay is falling further and further behind the 8 ball here. I don't know, maybe he's just not getting as much speed or much ground clearance as he was hoping for, or what's going on down there, but you can see it is starting to fade off into the distance. And speaking of fade off in the distance, here we go, battle for the lead. Did Steems use up too much of those tires and use up too much of that truck? I wonder, because McKinnon has taken the race lead away. Swung it down in turn 1 and 2, got the drive off and steals the line there from the 05. And that's exactly what the number 12 needed to do, what he needed to see here to get that run and get that advantage. Watch this drive here by the 12. This is for about a full 2 laps. Let's take a look at this. Here's the opening. Watch him straight up. A little bit of a diamond off there. A little bit of rotation. He feels the speed. Look at the power being done as soon as that truck rotated in. The left front was able to grip. It opened the door up. Steems gave him the opening on the inside. McKinnon, a hard drive off. Steems now tries to defend it. Tries to back him into the corner. Get a little bit of a drive off on the outside. But McKinnon, because he has that bottom line already secured, wasn't able to get ahead of him and get back into that spot that he was at a minute ago. And another caution is flying out. What? I don't know. How the heck I keep missing these caution flags. Caution is out here again, and I don't know what the heck happened here. All I do know is we got to take a look at it here. See if we can get a reading out here on the track and what exactly went down. Take a look at the PT Mr. Replay again. I don't know how we keep end up having like a caution kind of spurled up literally right as we're getting into the race here, getting into the big moments here, but it just seems like it just keeps coming out when we least expect it. Trying to take a look here through the field here and trying to see where the caution was flown at. Not quite getting a full register on that here. I do not know where it went out. I think this might be another ghost caution we're going to have to call for. So, yeah, I'm not getting any word down there as well from the officials here. So I think we're going to have to let that one just kind of be its own bygone be guygone. Bit of a wild little end there, though. Of course, we just saw the huge battle that laid in and McKinnon make that beautiful pass there. Now taking full control of this race, but now you gotta wonder here, is that going to be a bit of a factor coming on the restart? Because he knows John Kay, he'll want to come back forth quick and he'll want to come through as hard as he can. As much as Langston, Rainey, Michael Dean, Chad Steeves and them will. David Fay now up into that fight, into that finals here, but let's see how this all plays out. Greg Roberts, Kyle Dubik, Paul Ellison also not out of this one just yet here as we bring him right back across the line onto the front straightaway. Green flag back on out. We're back away for the Stop the Stigma 200. McKinnon getting a great drive out of the start. Opens the door for Langston to get a run around the outside. David Fay moving it down on the bottom, moving for the charge. Every driver of themselves here so far. Right now, clearing the deal, clearing the speeds. Ryan Dye on the bottom lane looking for a job. Up there, the 88 gets a ride down. Here comes the Slim Jim. He bites into another Slim Jim, bites into his own little deal there. Kyle Dumick with problems down there, and the caution flies yet again. Kyle Dumick, for sure we can say, is the one that brought out that caution flag here. We'll take a look at this one, see what went wrong exactly for the 18, and it looks like it may have had something to do with turn 4 this time. Mashindra 18. And isn't it kind of ironic though? That's exactly the same. Whoa! It's kind of the same spot that we saw a little event happen here on Richmond by the name of Spingate, but I don't think that was obviously intentional like it was with Clint Boyer and the Michael Walsh racing team. Take a look at here. Let's see what happens. You can see he kind of drove it in there. He had the corner, and then what makes me think that was trying not to do that was because of how much momentum he carried through that corner. And even he just commented, he says like a little bit of a facepalm on that. I don't think that was what he meant to do. And I don't think he's very happy about it. That's a tough shame there. He looked like he had a pretty good run going here and really had some speed on the track, and that's unfortunately one of those unfortunate deals you can't really escape here in racing, and that is one of the cases here. Caution flag still out right now though here. The field is trying to get back into pace, back into the run here. Onto the back straightaway, they are lining up back up into position, ready to line them off to the track. And race fans, you know, it's been a while since we've been able to pull this up, but I think it might just be time to live it up and crank it up a little bit when we get back to the green. We're going to crank it up indeed. Green flag back on out. We're back underway. The fans want to crank it up. Well, let's crank it up with them. Here we go. Crank it up here on Pete's Race TV. Oh, you gotta love it when we turn the volumes off and just let the drivers sing their own tune. And while we were doing that, we watched some absolute three-wide pandemonium happen, while also a new race leader take up full control. Your new leader, Ryan Dye, in the 15, has not only bit into the toughest of Slim Jims, he's also taking full control of this race. Jeff Langston still in that runner-up position, with Chad Seams now looking for a dive down on the inside. The Royal Tell It, number 21, got some company. Air Jordan's Toyota Tundra, number 05, Chad Seams now firing right back in the distance on the inside. Kyle Dimmick also saying came in a little too hot in the chat here. Kyle, I know how you feel it, man, but nevertheless, we appreciate coming on board to race this one out, bud. Hope you're doing okay, and hopefully don't have to drive it into the fire pit there of turn 3 and 4 that hard again. Some of the guys right now, I'm kind of surprised to see more in the back here, though, include the likes of Garrett Rainey here and, of course, Greg Elliott, who we saw them really tearing it up earlier on there on the front half and the second half. But Rainey was actually starting to build up a little more speed late into his run, and I think that's what he was kind of hoping for, which was a long, long green flag run. He's not getting it here, though, and Greg Elliott knows this too well as well. A lot of crisscross applesauce in here as the Stealth 53 has some company there on the inside. Elliott with a drive off into the distance into the corner zone. Either driver giving it into, and neither one wanted to give out to the other. Constantly throughout the day, we have talked about just how difficult it is to pass here at Richmond, and especially how difficult it is to make a ride off here into the zone if you're not too careful. Coming down off the edges here, we are starting to close in on the gaps, close in on the track right now. The fields are starting to separate in a little bit more. Greg Roberts in the number 3 after a big of a charge here. Very oblivious speeds he had gained up and made great decision from the pit road, stops and pit exits. Now having to deal with some tight company here in the Savage Arms 12 with Jeremy McKinnon, as well as Don Van Leer now in the 5. And Jan's had quite a day in his own right. He's damaged up equipment. He's thrown the wall, and he's thrown himself into the wall a few times. He's trying to hang in there and not get himself into too much more trouble, but you can just see how difficult it is for some of these guys to have to kind of keep up with that pace. Jan knows this very well. That's why he's right now trying to keep his Chevrolet Silverado Atari number 5 in one piece, if you will, or well, whatever one piece even designs anymore, considering how damaged it is. Greg Roberts falling back one stop here. Jan Van Leer giving him that up. Paul Ellison setting up maybe for the corner dive. Coming down the back straightaway. Hard drive entering turn. Roberts knows he has to surrender the line. When you got a truck that's really got that front corner panel in there, you must surrender it, as the driver code stands for. If you don't surrender it, the driver code gives you the inevitability of really having to take your entire truck or car away from position, because that was your own fault, as I say. It's one thing to block, like how you've seen Chase Elliott do it at New Atlanta Super Speedway, or whatever you want to call it. It's another when you get kind of the Kyle Larson treatment, though, at Auto Club. I will not go any further into that. You guys can take my thoughts on that for what you will. 57 laps left to go here, and this is starting to go further and further like Ryan Dye's little sanctuary here. Having no troubles keeping up pace, keeping up the distance here. The rest of the field trying to mix, match, and match him for shot and blow for blow, but you can see that 15 has not had any troubles really stabilizing it down. Slim Jim number 15 being so smooth and critical here. I think it's about time we take a look at our onboard dash cam and talk to you about why that is. I want you to pay attention to these first two corners here. Watch how he enters onto the front straightaway. Here's the front straightaway, up to the top side. Now drives it hard off, but look at that right there. You see, right before he gets to the end of the grass pit, that is his braking zone. That's his timing shot. gets off the throttle, gives it a little bit of brake, sets it back down in the corner, and as he enters into the back straightaway, you can see he's lining it on the wall, but not getting too low to where he's going to end up going too far into the apron. Takes a nice, even fuel, little speed, keeps himself under control, and that's why he is being so successful right now with that truck. He's managing to hit his marks, line the corner up, and the truck rotates and apexes exactly the way he needs it to. Michael Dean and Andy Flicky now have a little bit of a fight on their hands, a little bit of company mixed in here. Every driver for themselves here, as we've always said. Right now, your top 5 on your screen here, and a bit of a workaround here or two. You see Michael Dean literally having to go 7 spots up. He's now the Hard Charger Award winner here, recipient. Got quite as bad as many. He's 15 spots into this race, but he is certainly making a bit of a dash for himself, making a bit of a ride-off here. And, you know, we talked about the Dean of Students here in this kind of racing, and this man, he is, you know, the Dean of Drivers, I should say. I don't know. I can't even remember some of these nicknames I give these guys, but the Dean of Drivers, if you will, the 73 has been very much on point to schooling a few of these guys and making some moments that they cannot get away from, nor can they forget like you would in your old school days. But trying to get schooled in on a run like this here is a little bit easier said than done when you got guys that have knowingly been strong point, strong aimed here on these races in these positions. And Andy Flicker right now, knowing this way too well, he is currently forcing Michael Dean to have to make a decision on how he wants to hit his corners. Flicky driving farther up on the outside, he's trying to stay out of trouble, but Dean driving so quickly to that bottom and so hard off the exit. He's just not getting the room, though, to get to the top side where Flicky is running from. That's actually a very unique circumstance and situation to be put into, because you would think the outside line would not be as fast because it's a little bit slicker up there and you can't stir the track up as much. But when you got something like the bottom lane that needs to get the drive on the outside, now you're literally left with nothing when it comes to control and speed, and Flicky knows it. That's why he's literally right where he's at right now. You can see, yeah, he's turning that truck in a lot. Tires are probably taking a bit of a beating down there, but he's so ineptitude with that drive to hold off Dean and not let him sneak away into that position. Driving off that outside line and using as much speed as he is, he's keeping the Duke's mayonnaise of 73 Tundra away from taking it off the Nissan number 32. Well, Dean may be getting kind of tired of that and getting kind of annoyed about having to deal with him on the outside. Now the insert point 73 looking to go up a little bit faster in speed. The momentum's starting to sway. And again, Flicky knew if he drove on the outside, he was going to burn tires up a lot more frequently, a lot quicker. And I think he's starting to regret that decision, starting to take a bit of a hands-on approach with that. Coming off the edge here now, the 8 of Josh Maxwell is going to get put a lap down, and this is what Flicky did not want to be thrown into. And he'll go right into 3 wide, forcing Dean to have to try to fight him off. Flicky trying to get a great drive up. Beautiful corner there off of turn 4. What a speed boost by the number 32, able to hold back the Dean of Drivers himself with an absolute thriller off that corner, man. He had a lot of momentum kicked in there. Whoa, 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 trouble down there, Jan Van Leer. The number 5 almost lost it there in the corner there, and you saw the 5 go for a little ride off there of the rail cars. Number 5, Chevrolet Silverado, Atari machine almost clip-siding and cap-siding the entire rear end out from underneath him. He knew that was not a good place to be put into. He knew that was a very dangerous spot on the line and a little bit of a runoff. Be thrown in and around. whenever us end her around, whatever you want to call it, he is still A-okay. Ryan Dye right now, the race leader, by about a second and a ninth up ahead of Chad Steams. Field not giving an inch, nor are they giving anything worth the darn to them. Notice this is pretty much starting to turn into his race if he can keep going the full distance. Corey, the rider from the 50, and John Kay in the number 2 now battling out with one another here. John Kay looking to try to maximize opportunities and maximize his shots. Taking a few shots in the dark and taking a few shots in the A. Rutherford though, whoa! Really loose there off of turn number 2, and now opens the door for John Kay. And Kay, this is what I was a little bit nervous of, and I think these drivers were too, was how long before he decided to get kind of tired of waiting back here in this pack. Well, it looks like he's really sick and tired now because he is going full throttle assault. And if you got someone that's going full throttle assault in this kind of a race environment, you best stay away and stay out of trouble. Their times right now are literally up there with the guys on the race lead. 23.53 that last get. Eddie Flicky slower than him and definitely slower than the rest of the field. Rodney Roberts going back even further in the Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats machine. Flicky with company coming up behind him. And he has lost his spot to the Dean of Drivers himself, Michael Dean. Dean making a great comeback at him. And finally got around him there in turn number 4. Opening him up to a whole different kind of worms and giving himself plenty of opportunities to strike big here. Greg Roberts, who was up at the highest point here today, was up in that top 5 half. And the 3 right now is further and further back here with these guys as he's currently dealing with Jeremy McKinnon, Greg Elliott, and Will Salamone. And again, a lot of the reason why these guys are stacked up right now is because they can't find a way around Roberts. Roberts isn't giving them much room, and, well, frankly, why would he? I wouldn't give him anything out there. I'd just stay focused on what I'm doing and make sure that they can't get around me. As long as the truck's in one piece, who cares? Salamone now dealing with the insert point number 22, Brantley Gainey Jr. driving it down the bottom lane, and Salamone farther and farther back into this drive here. Greg Elliott, the 19, he's had a tumultuous day in his own right. He had a bit of a wild ride there earlier on when he was battling for the lead, coming into turn 1 and 2, ended up costing himself dearly. Or 3 and 4, excuse me, got a 3 wide saluted there, and then from there, then had to deal with the added pressure and the added fatigue of just trying to work his way back from the back of the outhouse into the White House. He hasn't even been able to get to the Congress level yet, though, so he's still got some room and workarounds here. Rodney Roberts here, giving a caution flag pop out though. We got trouble on the track again. Rodney Roberts brings out the caution in the 28. We'll have to go to the PTM Instant Replay and see what went wrong here. And once again, it appears turn number 2 is the culprit. If this right here is not what Ryan Dye or any of the crew wanted to see, this is a very bad spot to be put into. Whoa, Rodney. My, he slams the wall protection there, but good driving instincts to stay up in that wall and not try to drive off. Everybody else maneuvering around him to stay out of trouble, but Rodney, man, he has had a horrible, horrible day when it comes to just staying off that wall protection or just staying out of trouble. Had to go up there against the replica cars, number 5, Jan Van Leer. I did not mean to say rail cars when I meant replica cars. And you can see, looks like he was following kind of Rutherford's line as well as Jan and didn't realize how loose that truck was starting to get into the corner, and I think he knew as soon as it kind of went into that spot, he was in trouble. Ryan Dye will have to go into pit road here and get things settled down. John Kay right now, currently after his speed and his momentum, is actually now moving back up into the fight here, into the fray. He is right in the middle of this race. And Michael Dean now also kind of further up into the distance, up into the zone. Should be a very, very interesting little get up here. Actually, Ryan Dye is back in the top brackets here, so my bad there. Well, I have some company up ahead. Paul Ellison and Corey Rutherford also moving back into their spots they were really looking for, and now looking to try to take full advantage. Green flag back out. We're back underway. Seeing a lot of hard charges right now with only about 28 laps left to go. This makes you wonder who's taking this one. John Kay saying, hey, to the yellow there. Yeah, he did not want to see that yellow. I don't think any of these guys want to see what's coming up, though. Michael Dean on the outside. 3 wide slow, 3 middle in the back. Drivers get a little bit tangled up in between, and we got a wreck right out the front straightaway. And Jeff Langston, the 21's night may have just came to a swift and methodic end. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What on earth has happened on the front straightaway? Everyone looking for real estate, and they couldn't even get out of that one. Look at Dye. You see Dean up on the outside getting kind of clipped up. Dye tries to evade trouble. Greg Elliott kind of gets clipped in, but it's Jeff Langston and the Dean of drivers themselves who ends up failing at his own school of thought and ends up getting sent packing around there and crashing it right in there with the number 73. Dean was trying so hard to literally drive that thing onto the ground and make everything work, and just gets into a huge, huge pileup. Dante saying that was a pucker moment right there. Yeah, that was. I can see there's just nowhere to go. I mean, there's nowhere to get out of, there's nowhere to get through, and gotta be with them there at that point. Time to take a look at Greg Roberts here, the number 3's onboard camera here as well. This is what he saw when he got into that wreck and what he looked like when he got into the wreck. As you can see, he was even trying to drive a little bit on that outside line, trying to make things a little bit more interesting. And you see, that's where it's where they're kind of going for him, aiming for it. Jan Van Leer getting tagged, huge hit there. Hits the rubber cars a little bit once and twice, and then takes a little nudge there from Michael Dean. My word, though, race fans, what a huge, huge hit, and that is an extremely tough deal for many of these guys here. They were racing so hard, so well. Now having to find themselves in this position and in this line of sight. This is not what they wanted. This is not what they wanted to have go up against. But now they're going to have to deal with it here. The pace truck's light's still on here on the track, so we'll field them back into position here in a little bit with only about 21 laps remaining here. Question is, who's going to be able to walk away with this one and take home this victory? Well, race fans, just a heads up as well, and a reminder here on Pizza Race TV, we do have the Super Money Race coming up here in just a little while here, so if you have not already, get yourself signed up for the Demo Derby at Lanier. It should be a blistering fun time out on the track and a good time all around. You're not going to want to miss it, and you certainly don't want to miss the action that's coming up here. So be sure to like and follow us up here on Facebook and head to our YouTube and subscribe there for more great content as we have showcased over the years. Fire them off down into the exit here, down in the corner we go, green flag back on out, we're back underway. 21 laps to go, Ryan Dye right now trying to hang on. Andy Palicki, Greg Elliott now back into this fight as well. Greg Elliott literally catching some serious breaks here today. Looking to hold on though with the 32 of Andy Plicky on the outside, trying to get some momentum boosted up. Jeremy McKinnon in the 12 is now right in the mix again. Remember earlier on, he had a whole lot of charge and a whole lot of speed up in his game and up in his drive, and that's what he's doing again. The blimp cam shows all, tells all. Chad Stevens right now with the race lead. Once again, after quite a while out of that spot, 19 laps left to go. Trying to kick it up and trying to nudge it out a little bit. Trying to pump the jam. Trying to get that Air Jordans wired up and tight and stomping. I don't know what the heck I just said there, but I'm pretty sure I butchered that sentence. Andy Blicky in the 32 right now, looking to snap into that Slim Jim here of that 15 and die right now, looking to try to make a move off here and take position here. Coming up as quick as he can, looking for some openings here. Down in the playing field zone right now. Every driver for themselves still currently trying to save the tires. Remember earlier on, Chad Stevens made a big, bold move by trying to go ahead of the field and get ahead quickly, but it did not work long term. Will the same strategy bite him again? Did he learn from his mistakes? If that Air Jordan 05 did not learn from his mistakes earlier, then he would have nothing regained up. Trying to hold back on shredding the tires up, trying to keep the speeds up in their guards and up into the terrains. Knows he can't let anything get ahead of him. He just needs to stay focused. And this one might be going to him. It would be a huge win for that 05 team to be able to pull this one off after literally a ransack affair of madness all around with these Venom Truck Series drivers. Which, by the way, next week we will see back here on the show. Here on July 19th, they will be on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway track. And if you guys know anything about Las Vegas Motor Speedway and Truck Series, you know we say they go hand in hand like bread and butter. This will be a very fun time next week. We can't wait to see it and showcase it to you here on Pete's Race TV. The big bad number 2, John K. still dealing with the fire and the company there of our lone Canadian driver, Jeremy McKinnon. McKinnon looking to keep his opposition at stake, keep the opposition honest and not let them do too many things at him. Kyle Dube making the 8th seed now after all the troubles he's been through as well, making a bit of a comeback and resurgence on. Got around Jan Van Leer and Brantley Gaines Jr. here, which those two are going back and forth with each other again. They've been doing that all day long though. Battle of the Tundra and the Chevy and the Silverado. Neither one getting a better advantage over the other though. It's been just completely haywire between those two. 10 laps left to go. The final 5 on your screen right now as we're watching on. John K. Look out here. Looks like some speed may be coming his way. Trying to invert the number 12. Almost takes the bumper. Doesn't quite give it to him. And McKinnon loose out there in the number 2 up for 4. Getting loose there and then not being able to get the outside. It's a bit of a troublesome spot. K can make a move here if he can cross him up. Now the outside, gets a jump on the outside, gets a great bit of speed there and sends it on its way. Hard on the exit here, now K on the outside. That's where most of the passes have been made all day. McKinnon knows he's in trouble. Coming for broke, going from home. Kay on the outside trying to mash the gas, line it up. McKinnon trying to hold him off. 7 laps still to go here. This is not what any of these guys want to be dealing with. They want to get to the leaders. And Kay knows he's going right for broke here. Greg Roberts in the 3, back out of the track. Oh, and the 12, and McKinnon getting whipped up there with the number 2. McKinnon got the bumper, and he not only got some of that, he got some of the side skirt of the 2. Kay was able to aggressively do some offensive work and make the pass around. Chad Steams, though, the number 05, laying into it thick as can be. The Air Jordan's Tundra is right now looking like he could have it wrapped up. 5 laps to go for the 05. Can he pull it off? The field starting to separate out just a little bit more as we go. The Mafia drivers here of the 88, David Fay, Greg Roberts right now trying to make a bit of a resurgence and a little bit of a comeback here. David trying to get up there to Rutherford, looking for an opening, looking for a shot in the armor too. The Slim Jim number 15 of Ryan Dye also in the mix. Coming forth, coming quickly, seeing opportunity when he can. Last minute chances here on opportunity starting to strike in. That lap traffic going to be a factor. Steam's trying to get the other drivers to get out of his way and trying to tell them, like, guys, I'm really going for a win here. Help me out. I need something. 2 to go. He may have something to deal with here as he makes a pass here around the 28. It appears he did learn from his mistakes. He did learn from that execution. Now just needs to make one last dash up to the front. Here we go, race fans. White flag in the air. Chad Steams, the 05, gonna bring the Air Jordan machine right around town here, looking for the big win. Ryan Dye mixing it up a little bit, trying to get the speed back up. You can see he's trying to pull that Harvick move. You saw him try to do it Hamlin earlier on this year in the Next Gen Cup Series. But I don't think he's going to have enough time to do it this time because of a turn 3 and 4. Chad Steams is going to bring the Air Jordan 05 to victory lane. And the Stop Stigma number 200 will go to the 05. And a huge, huge win with a last minute dash and a late rally by that big old number 05 machine. The driver out of Newcastle, Indiana, managing to steer clear and stay on the speed. And I just realized I was saying Stems the whole time. It's actually Stearns. Stearns, I really do apologize, but I just swear I did not mean to get your last name pronounced wrong and butchered this whole time. I'm pretty sure he'll probably come and tell me, like, next time you do that, I might be in trouble. I wouldn't blame him. I'm sorry. I don't know how I messed up his last name. So, Stearns, I really, really apologize, sir. It's hard to kind of read on my data sheet here. It looked like Stems on my end. So, again, I really apologize. But at least we know he came away with the race win. So, he can't get too mad at me for that one. All right. Well, Chad Stearns did get your win today here. He'll bring another one home for Zittel Incorporated Racing. Ryan Dye, though, man, give the credit. Credit's due to the number 2. Brings home 2nd. Andy Palicki going 3rd out of the bunch. 4th to John Kay. Jeremy McKinnon getting 5th. Greg Elliott going 6th. 7th to Corey Rutherford. David Fay going 8th. 9th to Will Salamone. And 10th to Brantley Gainey Jr. taking home top 10 out of the field, out of the bunch. That will take full control of that and end that on the highest of notes here, race fans. So now with that said and that up for grabs here, we are now settling it down on the track here. We're about to listen into our drivers and have a listen in with the guys right now. Let's go ahead and let's get settled down. Talk top 5, boys. You know what to do. Take it away for me down there.
Richmond Raceway 200 laps event. We are going to start off with our third place finisher, Andy Politsky, starting in the P8 position. Andy, how'd your night go for you tonight?
It went about as well as it could. I'm not disappointed in it one bit. I just needed a good, solid race tonight to make up some points from a couple of bad weeks and see where we can see if we can make up some ground in this championship.
Yeah, it was definitely an entertaining night. Anything strategy-wise or something that could have maybe swung in your direction?
I don't know if we could have done anything different. I did try 2 tires there mid-run. I think maybe if I waited to the last bit, it might have helped a little more, gotten some track position, but didn't really have much for Chad or Ryan. Those guys were really quick tonight. I tried everything I could, running different lines and everything I could think of, and just couldn't make enough time on them.
Third place finish. You're racing out there tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great run for our Nissan Wichita Falls forward. So
sounds good to me, buddy. Second place finisher tonight gonna be Mr. Ryan Dye. Started in the P5 position. Ryan, how did your night go in the sense?
Happy with it. I was out to lunch and practice yesterday and put in about 400 laps today to try to find something, and I eventually found something that worked. It just didn't quite work well enough to catch Chad there at the end. I kind of wish on that last pit stop I would have taken 4. I went ahead and took 2 because I was just afraid somebody was going to jump me. When I did that, I think that kind of sealed my fate. It was a little bit too loose on 2 tires at the end. But overall, happy with the P2 and happy to still have the points lead.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Points leader. Just the run overall, everybody was kind of saying about how, you know, you got to a point and you kind of hit the wall and you lost a whole ton of speed. How did you overcome that?
I just found a line. Honestly, I started driving the turns like Martinsville. I would almost diamond it in a really weird fashion that I don't know that I didn't really see anybody else trying. And it worked. Even when my tires were worn, I was able to still get some speed off. Just wasn't quite enough to get Chad there at the end. But, I mean, if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm happy it's somebody that's getting their first career win.
Absolutely. It's good racing out there. Ryan Dye, second place. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
And to the man at the top step with career win number 1 in the Venom Truck Series, it is selfishly my teammate and getting another win for Zittle Inc. It's going to be Chad Stern, started in the P3 position. Chad, how'd you do it, bud?
Looks like technical difficulty ends on our end here, folks.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I think we got some troubles down there, guys.
Sitting here talking to.
Right. Did you hear basically what I said?
Yeah, I did, man.
All right. So how'd you do it? Lay it out.
I really didn't have. My strategy was to qualify well, and then to hopefully just stay out front, try to avoid some of the stuff in the back. And that's kind of what happened. You know, I knew I could be pretty quick, and on that last pit stop, whenever I knew that Ryan took 2, so I felt pretty good. I knew I had a pretty good chance. So that's basically it.
Yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. Anybody wanna shout out first career win?
Just Zittle Inc. Racing, man. All my teammates and Venom Truck Series, Ryan, everybody in Venom, pretty much. So yeah, it's good to get my first win. I haven't been able to race the last couple weeks, so it's a good way to come back.
Awesome, man. It's great to see you up front. Another win for Zittle Inc. Selfishly, pretty excited. do it for us tonight from the Richmond Raceway. Join us next week, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Christian, I'll send it back to you, bud.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your help as well down on the track here. And race fans, this one is in the books here. Richmond, the Stop Stigma 200 complete. We are heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway next week on the track. So be sure to join us then when the time comes here on Pizza Race TV. For now, though, I say thank you. Farewell for now. The Super Money Race is coming up. It's time to smash, bash, crash, and get some enduro action going here on the track here. Stay tuned, Linear. We're coming for you here soon enough. We'll see you here on the show.